All right, so class today, English settlement of the New World. We're going to be looking at this really quickly. Don't worry about the state standard today. That's the old standard. But essentially, we're going to look at the English colonies, what the big deal was, what was kind of happening here in the New World. So, a couple key terms: joint stock company, indentured servant, head right system, slaves, democracy, parliament. What are those words? What do those words mean? A few things that we're going to look at really quickly today. Jamestown. Jamestown was the first permanent English settlement in the New World, established in 1607 by a joint stock company. And a joint stock company, by definition, is one where stockholders share ownership of the company. And what that means is just like a publicly traded company today. And what happens is you actually have shareholders who invest in a company and they own a portion of that company, right? So just like the stock market today, a joint stock company. Now, the head right system, it promoted the establishment of large tobacco plantations in places like Virginia. You'd have indentured servants work the plantations. And guys, believe it or not, indentured servitude was actually the thing before slavery, the way that we think of it today. Really and truly, people would sell themselves into indentured servitude and essentially come and be a slave. And so these are Europeans selling themselves into indentured servitude, or they're using it as a way to get out of something like debtor's prison. So it's very interesting, very, very interesting. By the end of the 1600s, the plantation owners, though, had begun switching to utilizing African slaves. The reason for this is because normally an indentured servant served for a term. So it was like, hey, I'll sign a contract and be your slave for the next, say, 7 years. But then after that, I'm free, right? That's indentured servitude. They're indentured for a certain amount of time. And like I say, normally it was to get out of if you had a crushing debt that you had to pay off, it was a way to do that, right? A way to escape it, stuff like that. So it's like almost being a slave, but only for a predetermined amount of time. On average, we'll say 7 years, right? Is a good close approximation. Virginia colony. The House of Burgesses was founded so that settlers could have a voice in their government, and Virginia helped establish the pattern for other colonies. So, from the very beginning, Americans had started to establish a uh, a system and a tradition of what we call self government. Remember, the government over in England's so far away that you needed some sort of governmental system right here at home, because otherwise it's a multi-month long journey across the ocean to just to even get word back to and from leadership. So you had to have some level of government right here. And so Virginia helped establish this pattern of self-government right here from the very beginning in the early 1600s. Now, the New England colonies, they were founded as a haven for religious freedom. You got the Mayflower Compact, which was penned in 1620. The Pilgrims at Plymouth Rock. They established another American ideal for self-government, that the people form the government. You can see they all agree to enter into this government. Native Americans taught those settlers how to plant things like corn and how to have a garden, what types of plants and vegetables grow well here, right? So we kind of have a nice little symbiotic relationship right there. Not everything between the native population and the settlers was always hostile. It just simply wasn't always hostile. Sometimes it was a positive thing. Other times it was not so much a positive thing. People, swapping diseases and fighting and war, and then other times, well, Thanksgiving dinner, and we're all sitting down at a table together. So, the Massachusetts Bay Colony, it came with even more settlers. They founded and used town meetings and general assemblies to govern democratically. They established schools. What is this? I have a So, looks like that's what we're going to be able to cover today. They banished any dissenters from the colony, and the economy was based on trade in the New England colonies. So, we will resume this lesson here shortly. My apologies. Something weird's going on with the computer.